In a small, forgotten village, nestled between rolling hills and a lazy river, lived an old farmer named Daniel. Every morning, long before the first rays of sunlight kissed the horizon, Daniel would make his way into his fields. His steps were slow but steady, his heart filled with a quiet, unshakable hope. His plot of land was modest, a mere patchwork quilt of earth compared to the sprawling estates of his neighbors. His tools were heirlooms, worn smooth by the hands of his father and grandfather. His clothes, patched and faded, told stories of seasons past. But what Daniel lacked in material wealth, he more than made up for in his profound belief in the soil beneath his feet. While other farmers gathered at the village well, their voices a chorus of complaints about unpredictable weather, pesky insects, and disappointing harvests, Daniel worked in contemplative silence. He moved through his rows of crops with a gentle reverence, treating each plant as if it were a member of his own family. He would speak to his crops, his voice a low, encouraging whisper that danced on the morning breeze. "Grow strong, little ones," he would murmur, carefully pressing each seed into the dark, welcoming earth. "The world is waiting for you." He believed that the land had a spirit, a consciousness, and that it responded not just to toil, but to love and respect. Then, one year, a shadow fell over the village. A devastating drought descended, a silent, relentless thief. The sun, once a life-giving friend, became a scorching tyrant, beating down on the land with merciless intensity. The once mighty river shrank to a silver ribbon, and the smallest streams and wells vanished completely, leaving behind cracked, thirsty earth. Across the valley, crops withered and died. The vibrant green fields turned to brittle, dusty brown. Hope began to curdle into despair. Panic, like a wildfire, swept through the community. The air grew thick with worry and fear. Farmers who had tilled their land for generations stood staring at their ruined fields, their faces etched with desperation. Some, seeing no other way out, made the heartbreaking decision to sell their ancestral land for a pit. Others packed their meager belongings, said tearful goodbyes, and left the village, their dreams of a life on the land turning to dust as they sought uncertain work in the distant, crowded cities. But Daniel stayed. It was a lone, unmoving figure in a landscape of abandonment. His routine, however, changed. Every day, his journey began even earlier, in the deep, inky blackness before dawn. He would walk miles to a remote, hidden well, one that still held a trickle of precious water deep within the earth. With painstaking effort, he would draw the water, bucket by bucket, his old muscles straining with the load. He would then carry the heavy buckets back to his small field, his shoulders aching, his breath coming in ragged gasps. There, under the unforgiving sun, he would pour the water onto his plants, not in a wasteful flood, but carefully, tenderly, drop by precious drop. He directed the water to the base of each stalk, ensuring not a single bit of moisture was lost to evaporation. His hands, gnarled and tough from a lifetime of labor, soon became covered in painful blisters. His back, already bent with age, ached with a deep, persistent fire. His neighbors, the few who remained, would watch him from the shade of their porches, shaking their heads in disbelief. Their laughter, tinged with a mix of pity and scorn, would drift across the barren fields. "Old fool!" they'd call out. "Why do you work so hard? Can't you see it's hopeless? Nothing will grow in this cursed heat." Daniel would simply pause, wipe the sweat from his brow with the back of a blistered hand, and offer them a gentle, unwavering smile. "The soil listens to patience," he would reply, his voice calm and certain, before turning back to his sacred task. Weeks turned into a month, and the month bled into two. Still, no rain came. The sky remained a vast, empty canvas of brilliant, searing blue. The land lay dormant, appearing as dry and lifeless as ever. A seed of doubt, tiny and cold, began to sprout in Daniel's own heart. He was only human, after all. Had he been foolish? Was he wasting his final years, his fading strength, on a lost cause? The laughter of his neighbors echoed in his mind, their words of mockery feeling sharper than before. One evening, he sat on his porch, looking out at his dusty field, under a blanket of cold, indifferent stars. The silence of the night was heavy, broken only by the chirping of crickets. He wondered if he was truly wrong, if his faith had been misplaced. He felt a profound loneliness, a sense of being the last believer in a forgotten faith. For a fleeting moment, he considered giving up. But as the first hint of dawn painted the eastern sky, something deep within him stirred. The habit of a lifetime, the deep-seated love for his land, pulled him to his feet. He picked up his buckets and began his long walk to the well once more. He would not abandon his field. Then, one afternoon, the miracle happened. It started subtly. A single, dark cloud appeared on the distant horizon, a smudge of charcoal against the pale sky. Then another joined it, and another. Slowly, hesitantly, the clouds gathered, growing darker and heavier, blotting out the relentless sun. A cool breeze, the first in months, swept through the village, carrying the scent of distant rain. A collective gasp went through the remaining villagers as they all looked to the sky. The rain began softly, a gentle patter on the parched earth. Then it grew stronger, a steady, life-giving downpour. The land, so long deprived, drank deeply, thirstily, as if waking from a long, feverish sleep. The sound of the rain was a symphony, washing away the dust, the despair, and the doubt. It rained for a full day and a night, a blessed, soaking rain that replenished the earth. Within days, a transformation occurred. In Daniel's field, and only in Daniel's field, tiny green shoots pushed their way through the damp soil. They were small and fragile, yet vibrant with life. The other farmers, who had abandoned their land, stood at the edges of his property in stunned silence. They watched, day by day, as Daniel's crops grew taller, stronger, and healthier. A lush, green oasis in a desert of brown. His patient, drop-by-drop watering had kept the life force in his seeds dormant, but alive, ready to burst forth when the conditions were right. When the harvest season finally arrived, Daniel's field was a breathtaking sight. It was a sea of gold, heavy with grain, the stalks swaying gracefully in the autumn breeze. The yield was more abundant than any he had ever had before. He didn't hoard his bounty. With a generous heart, he shared his food with the entire village, ensuring every family had enough to eat, helping them survive the difficult year. His quiet act of faith had saved them all. The villagers, humbled and grateful, gathered around him. They no longer mocked him. They looked at him with awe and respect. "Daniel, how'd you do it?" they asked. "How did you know the rain would come? How did you succeed when we all failed?" Daniel looked out over his golden field, a peaceful smile on his face. He spoke, not with pride, but with the simple wisdom of a man who understood the deeper rhythms of life. "Hard work feeds the body," he sighed calmly, his voice carrying across the quiet crowd. "But faith feeds the future." From that day forward, the story of old farmer Daniel became a legend in the village, passed down from generation to generation, and with it, they passed down his timeless lesson. Whatever your field may be, a plot of land, a creative project, a difficult relationship, or a personal dream, never abandon it too soon. Patience and faith can make a desert bloom. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of wisdom and inspiration. See you in the next video.